It's a beautiful night for baseball in Southwest Florida, and for the 6th time in Grapefruit League play, it'll be the Boston Red Sox against the Minnesota Twins. And we welcome you to JetBlue Park. I'm Dick Bramer from the Twins Television Network, Fox Sports North. Steve Lyons, of course, from the New England Sports Network. It's been a good camp for both the Boston Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins, but the success of the camp not based so much on wins and losses, but rather who's been added to the roster since camp began.
And you're talking about two teams that were playoff teams last year, and they went out and made themselves better, especially in Minnesota's case. When you look at getting a couple starting pitchers in Jake Odorizzi and Lance Lynn. Lynn's coming off of his 2nd season now after the Tommy John surgery, so he's fully healthy. He's a bulldog when he's ready to go. We know about Odorizzi and what he can do. And also, you get Logan Morrison in that lineup. He brings 38 home runs with him. You plunk him right into the middle of the lineup. Obviously, it was already a potent offensive lineup to begin with. Now you get more. That's a pretty good-looking ball club. And as far as the Red Sox are concerned, our new toy is JD Martinez. Everybody wanted him. No one necessarily could afford him. We did. We finally put a deal together to get him. He's going to be right in the middle of this lineup, and really, they needed it. They needed some pop in that lineup, and they're going to get it with JD.
You touched on a good point, the fact that both the Red Sox and the Twins were in the playoff field a year ago, and both of them, with a week and a half left to go in spring training, but both of them believe that they're better in 2018 than they were a year ago. Can't wait to bring you first pitch from Fort Myers in just a couple moments.
Charlie Moore is a little out there.
Good bait, horrible.
Not a cloud in the sky, 75 degrees here in Fort Myers. A glorious evening for baseball. 6th meeting between the Boston Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins. Dick Bramer along with Steve Lyons. We're sending this telecast to both markets, both New England and the upper Midwest on Fox Sports North. And the third member of our broadcast group, Garrett Austin, down along the third base dugout. Garrett?
Well, hi, Dick. Well, tonight I talked to Tony La Russa, and he told me why he thinks Lance Lynn is going to be so important for the Twins this season. Also, Robbie Scott had off-season elbow surgery, and he told me why and how it's changed his release point. And I caught up with Addison Reed this morning, guys, and he told me about expectations for the Twins this season. And we talked about how much he's been enjoying watching Joe Kelly's videos.
Well, thank you, Garrett. Talking with Tony La Russa before the game today, and he was remarking about Tom Kelly's statue that is outside Target Field. So I had to ask Tony whether he had a statue in Oakland or St. Louis. No statue yet.
He should.
Of course, he's into the Hall of Fame. The Red Sox are leading this Challenge Cup series. This is the 6th meeting. There was a game that was washed out, and the Red Sox have already beaten the Twins 3 times. Let's take a look at the Twins lineup, and it has changed from when we got to the ballpark here this afternoon. Byron Buxton is leading off. Max Kepler batting second. Eduardo Escobar hitting third. Kenny Vargas was supposed to hit cleanup and play first base, but late this afternoon the Twins designated him for assignment or release. So Eddie Rosario, the designated hitter, will hit fourth. Ray Adrianza, Eric Ibar, Bobby Wilson, Zach Granite, and Jordan Pacheco added to the starting lineup in place of Kenny Vargas.
On the mound today for the Red Sox, Rick Porcello making his third start down here in spring training. You see his numbers from 2017 way off of the numbers that we were used to seeing out of him in his Cy Young year of 2016, namely the home runs. 38 he gave up last season, far and away the most he's ever given up. Down here, so far in his third start, he's gone 6 innings, given up 9 hits and 4 earned runs, but I tell you, in his last start, he gave up about 7 of those hits, and not too many of them were hard hit balls. Defensively for the Red Sox, behind him, you got J.D. Martinez out there in left field. Benintendi making a start in center field today. Mookie Betts, the Gold Glover, in right field. Devers, Marrero, Holt, and Moreland make up your infield. And Rick Porcello will be pitching to Blake Swihart today.
Benintendi's hit in every game down here, and he's had a wonderful spring training, getting some time out in center field.
You know, they run those stats all the way back to last season. He hit in his last 2 spring training games last year, too, so they just keep adding them up for him. I don't know if that counts for anything, does it?
I don't think it does. And there you look at Paul Molitor. Twins had a split squad arrangement today. Molitor managing his second game of the day. The Twins lost at their complex a couple of miles west of here, CenturyLink Sports Complex, losing to the Rays. But the Twins, like the Red Sox, have a winning record in the spring, and that doesn't matter that much either. The important thing, Steve, I think, is that with Alex Cora looking on, of course, in his rookie season as manager, the important thing is, for the most part, the Twins have gotten through camp in reasonably good health. The Red Sox have some pitchers that they hope to be able to bring back to health here in the month of March and into April. Here's Byron Buxton. The first pitch grounded up the middle. Guerrero has it, and Speedy Buxton clipped on a close play, 1 away. And all the clubs you were with over the years, you might have had a good record in spring training games, whether it was Arizona or Florida, but you know, when the bell rings, when the season starts, none of that really matters.
No, it's all about just getting ready for the season to start. Make sure you're ready to go when the bell rings. And, you know, obviously, I was always in a position where I really wanted to have a good spring to make sure I didn't get released.
Here's Max Kepler. Kepler, the regular right fielder for the Twins. Buxton, of course, manning center field. Rosario, the designated hitter today, the usual left fielder. And Kepler flares at foul. 1-1.
Well, I really like the progression of what Kepler's been able to do. He just seems to get better and better with each year. They're giving him more of an opportunity to play, and such a well-rounded, gifted athlete.
And there's a base hit to left center field, headed toward the gap, and Kepler will round first, dig for second. And he is in with a double. Kepler has done a lot of damage against right-handed pitching. The biggest thing that has held him back so far in his young major league career against lefties, but he got a pitch up against Porcello and got an extra base hit.
Yeah, that's not a location that Porcello is going to want to try to throw too many pitches, especially to a guy like Kepler who can go the other way. That ball is going to be down in the zone to sink it down and away from Kepler to have any success with it.
And that'll bring up Eduardo Escobar, the shortstop in the ball game here tonight. Paul Molitor wanting to get his regular players, the players expected to be on the 25-man roster, 3 at-bats, 3 plate appearances. So Escobar hitting third. Did a great job for the Twins toward the end of last year when Miguel Sano went down with a leg injury, and Escobar stepped in, played a great third base, but also hit for almost as much power as Sano would have if he were in the lineup.
He's had a fantastic season, career highs in everything, with the opportunity to play a little bit more. 21 homers, 73 RBIs.
Sometimes it comes down to that, doesn't it? Just being given an opportunity. He's bounced around a couple of different organizations. The Twins got him from the White Sox, kind of filled in here, filled in there, and finally, as you said, got a chance to play one position every day. And the results maybe shouldn't have been as surprising as they were. It's a really good player, switch hitter. There's a ground ball behind first. Sure-handed Moreland makes the play. Kepler to third, 2 away. And that'll bring up Rosario. Rosario missed some time. We get a look at Moreland making a nice backhanded play.
Gold Glover over there at first base. Signed a 2-year deal to stay with the Red Sox after his first season last year.
And with a runner at third and 2 down, that'll bring up Rosario, who, as I said, has missed some time with an elbow injury. Structurally, nothing serious at all. But the Twins are bringing him back now with back-to-back days as a designated hitter. And I talked to Eddie during batting practice today, and he hopes to be in left field as soon as Sunday when the Twins are hosting the Phillies. What Twins fans saw last year, particularly encouraging moving forward to 2018 and beyond, a cluster of hitters, and Rosario was one of them, who seemed to figure things out simultaneously. Buxton, Polanco, the shortstop, and Rosario. And I mean, these are all guys 23, 24, 25 years old.
Yep, and there's a long future ahead of them if you're going to do that, and especially as you talked about, just putting it together offensively, knocking the ball out of the ballpark, driving it for doubles, driving in runs, doing things that, you know, hadn't done before.
2-0 to Rosario. And on the outside corner.
You know, I know the Red Sox, and we talk about it a lot. We're kind of proud of the guys that are out in the outfield. When you look at Benintendi generally in left field, Jackie Bradley Jr. in center, and then Mookie in right. Try to say it's the best outfield in all of baseball, but Minnesota make.
Here's a blast to right. A bullet over the head of Betts and off the wall. Rosario has a double, driving in Kepler, and it's 1-0.
Bunch of Minnesota fans with the outfield that you guys throw out there every day might try to give you an argument. Once again, watch location of this pitch. That's up, that's belt high. It's not going to do anything. You know, the biggest thing that Porcello has been trying to do is get that sinking fastball down in the zone so that it has more late movement. When it's up around your belt buckle, it's not going to move, and it's going to stay flat, and it's going to get hit hard like that.
Couple of doubles again in the first inning, and it seems to have been a chronic problem for Porcello over the last year or so.
It has been the issue, not being able to get out of the first unscathed.
Adrianza takes outside, ball 1. Shadows creeping over the infield and, of course, the left field area as well here at JetBlue. Adrianza in a bit of a battle for a spot. He did a good job for the Twins in a utility role last year. But several weeks ago, and we showed you in the open, the Twins adding some marquee names. Wasn't that long ago, Eric Ibar was a marquee name. He was an all-star shortstop for the American League as recently as 2014, and now Ibar is in camp competing with Adrianza, presumably for one position.
Yeah, you'll see these guys back-to-back in this ball game tonight. You see as the sun is starting to go down, you see the shadows creeping across the infield. I don't know about you, Dick, but I've never been a shadow guy. I don't think it makes any difference. I would agree that there's a little bit of a difference when you're trying to hit and see the ball.
Shot to the right side, easy play from Moreland, and the inning ends. But the Twins touch Porcello for a couple of doubles in a first inning run.
NESN Sports Update has more of the action.
bottom of the first inning. The Red Sox running a lot of their regulars out there in their lineup here tonight, Steve.
Yep, checking out the lineup that they're throwing out there today. Leading off, as always, Mookie Betts in right field. Then it's Benintendi in center field today. The DH, Hanley Ramirez. JD Martinez playing left field and hitting fourth today. Mitch Moreland at first base. Rafi Devers playing third base. Then Brock Holt. And catching today, Blake Swihart getting to do what he normally does.
7 doubles. How does a catcher have 7 doubles?
Another home run as well.
Yeah. Mookie Betts leading things off. The starting pitcher is Miles J, who's kind of a journeyman right-hander. First year in the Twins organization. Last year made his major league debut with the Tigers. And a ground ball base hit up the middle for Mookie Betts. Jay doesn't figure to go north with the Minnesota Twins. He's on a minor league deal.
He throws everything: fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. But he's more of a contact guy. He's not going to get a lot of strikeouts. And if you pitch to contact, you have a bad day, you're going to get hit hard.
Betts aboard, being held by Jordan Pacheco, who was added to the roster and the starting lineup today. Here is Andrew Benintendi. And Betts took off towards second.
He was trying to get a monster jump.
Jay, who threw his first pitch, gave up a base hit, nearly gave up an uncontested stolen base there.
He was hoping Jay would actually pick that time to go ahead and throw to the plate, but he didn't. He held it a little longer.
Breaking ball down and in ball 1.
Well, I think you've been doing this a long time. You're not going to see too many prettier swings than the one that this kid right here has, Andrew Benintendi.
And he takes down on the way 2-0. Betts aboard. Hanley Ramirez, the designated hitter, on deck. And Betts takes off. Pitches outside. Wilson's throw. Not in time. That first slide just ahead of Escobar's tag.
Well, we knew Betts was itching to go down there. He finally got the pitch to go on. And tell you what, everything was set up pretty nicely to be able to throw Betts out, but he just outrun the whole play.
See Brian Honora, the base ump. Talk about middle infielders, third baseman too, holding the tag on with the age of replay. And I think you saw the umpires' responsibility is a little bit different too. They keep watching to make sure that the hand or the foot doesn't come off the bag before they make the safe call.
Yep.
There's the veteran Brian Honora. We've got Jeff Kellogg behind the plate. Tim Timmons, the other base ump. Only 3 umpires here for tonight's game. 3-1 to Benintendi. Green lighted on the 3-0 count. And up and away, a walk.
Every day game that we see here, the sun can be an issue.
And with 2 aboard, nobody out, let's check out the Twins in the field. Zach Granite figures to be the 4th outfielder for the Twins, behind the likes of Rosario, Buxton, and Kepler. Adrianza in at third. Twins have a little injury issue with Miguel Sano we'll talk about later on. Escobar, Ibar up the middle. Pacheco at first and Bobby Wilson behind the plate. 2 aboard for Hanley Ramirez. Not exactly how Miles J wanted to start his night tonight, with a single and a walk. Mentioned that Jay made his major league debut as a member of the Tiger pitching staff last year. Got a win in a start against Kansas City. The Tigers, of course, had a lost season. They were taking a look at whatever options they had internally as they began their rebuilding process last year. The first step of that might have been the trade of JD Martinez to Arizona in the middle months of the summer. And down 2-0.
Went on to hit 29 home runs for the Arizona club after that trade. 45 overall. Now, I was mentioning the sun in the day games, that high sky and the sun makes it awfully difficult. Now you might have a little problem at first base with the sun beating right down on the first baseman. We'll see on any throws to first if it's a trouble for Pacheco and Mitch Moreland. Those guys over at first could be tough for them to see the ball a little bit.
It's interesting, when I got to the ballpark around 3 o'clock, the Red Sox ran some outfield drills, and they had the jugs gun sending fly balls out to center field, and they had the outfielders rotate out there trying to contend with the sun.
Yeah, it was really cool what they did too. They had the guys lying down on their back so they didn't see the ball go up, and then they'd tell them to jump up so they'd have to find the ball, then shield their eyes from the sun, and then still make the play. So I thought that was pretty creative.
Looked to me like they all lost a bet.
Yeah, someone must have dropped one.
3-1 now to Hanley Ramirez, and Miles J is hoping that this first inning doesn't get completely out of hand here.
This is a new addition to Hanley Ramirez. His helmet there, he never had that face guard before.
Left center field and down for a hit. It'll run to the gap. Betts scoring, Benintendi right behind him. Here's the throw from Escobar, not in time, and it's 2-1. So the Red Sox put a couple of men aboard for Ramirez, and he delivered, and the Twins' lead is gone.
That's what Hanley gets paid for right there. There's that big pose that he usually does after he knows he's hit one on the nose. Gets good extension through that pitch right there. No one's catching it in this gap. Scoring all the way from first, Benintendi. Good speed out there in front of Hanley.
And now J.D. Martinez. What had been rumored for so long finally became official after some medical issues regarding Martinez. I walked around the backfield here this afternoon when I got here and looked at Martinez, and of course he was the scourge of Twins pitching when he was with the Tigers, and then I saw Chris Sale doing some strengthening exercises, and of course he was with the White Sox, and you begin to realize how much talent has left the American League Central just in the last few years. And now this year, Eric Hosmer signing with the Padres, kind of the captain, the unnamed captain of that Kansas City team. But this guy was awfully good, and he was part of a fearsome lineup with the Detroit Tigers when Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, and Kinsler and guys like that were.
Miggy's older now and less effective.
And outside, 2-1 from J to J.D. Martinez. Deep to left center field. Buxton won't get there. Two hops the wall. Rounding third is Hanley Ramirez. He'll try to score. Escobar's throw not in time. And it's 3-0. Still nobody out. There's been a walk in this inning, but then the greater sin falling behind really good hitters Ramirez and J.D. Martinez.
J.D. gets one out off the end of his bat a little bit. That's maybe why he didn't hit it out of this place. Look at Hanley. Hanley's not getting a great read on this ball. No way Buxton's catching up with that one. And then you really saw Hanley determined to score, because I think he was thinking to himself, I'm not sure I read that ball right. I better score on this double.
Both teams have new pitching coaches. Garvin Alston, the new Twins pitching coach, replacing Neil Allen.
There's Hanley chugging around third saying, I better score.
And now Mitch Moreland will hit.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like I get all of them. Like, I try not to get upset. It's just insane that I got it.
See if Jay can get ahead of a batter. He gave up a first pitch single to Betts. Walked Benintendi, and now pitch down and in, not close to the strike zone, ball one.
Well, there was a game a few days ago that got rained out between the Twins and the Red Sox, and the Twins' first 8 hitters that came to the plate all scored. Then they made an out, and then I think Dozier hit a 2-run homer after that. It was an ugly, ugly game, and then it got rained out.
Chopped up the right side foul. No one's looking at the horizon. That will not rain tonight. Absolutely gorgeous night. 1-1. Mitch Moreland. Twins coming into play today with a 10-8 mark and a couple of ties in Grapefruit League play, and the Red Sox 11-8. Twins, as I mentioned, have already lost an afternoon game to the Rays. Swing and a miss as he went upstairs, and it's 1-2.
I don't know if Jay's going to be able to get away with that all that often. 89 miles an hour on that fastball up around the letters.
It's Jay's 8th year of professional ball. 4th organization. High fly right center. It's Kepler's turn to fight the sun, and it is Buxton making the catch, and alertly going from second to third is J.D. Martinez. So finally an out, but a productive one at that. 1 away. And Rafael Devers, youngest player in camp for the Red Sox, 21 years old, and by season's end he will still be just 21 years of age.
This guy's had a chance to be a very, very good player. He needs work on defense, but he's got such quick hands. Came up last season. See the numbers that he produced in just a few games with the 10 home runs. Hit about 8 of those 10 home runs in about his first 20 games in the big leagues.
222 at bats last year. And a pop-up behind second base. And Buxton with the catch. Martinez playing at a 1/4 of the way to home plate. 2 down. And that'll bring up Brock Holt.
Buxton not only won the Gold Glove in center field in the American League, he was also got, what do they call it, a Platinum Glove, where he was voted flat out the best fielder in the American League, regardless of position.
And when the Twins signed him and when he was developing in the minor leagues, we were told that he was a 5-tool player. But what we have not seen at this level is something that he possesses. We just haven't seen it yet. The Twins expect Buxton to be a much better thrower than he has been. We have seen the great range and acrobatic catches and fearless crashes into the wall, but we really haven't seen what is perceived to be one of his strengths, and that's a strong throwing arm. Outside now, it's 2-0.
Well, I know the game is changing and the way the players play it, but when you look at his numbers, you know, if he could cut down on his strikeouts a little bit, because that's something he still does quite a bit, someone could make him understand how valuable he is once he reaches base with that speed and ability to steal. I think he stole 29 bases last year.
Had 1 caught stealing, and on the 1 caught stealing, he reached second base and overslid second base. So no catcher really actually threw him out last year. 3-0 to Brock Holt. Swihart on deck. And ball 4. Miles J not enjoying this opportunity that he's been given here tonight. With a couple of walks, a couple of doubles, a single so far, just 3 runs on the board. But now Swihart with 2 on and 2 out. One would think he'll win multiple Gold Gloves before his career is over. Speaking of Buxton, of course. Nice block behind the plate by Bobby Wilson, keeping it 3-0. He can go back, he can come in, he can go to his right, he can go to his left. Twins have been blessed to have some great center fielders in my tenure with them. Kirby Puckett, Torrey Hunter, and I'm not so sure though when it's all said and done in terms of range that Buxton might not be the best the Twins have ever had. I know that's saying a lot, but just a tremendous athlete with great speed. And something you really can't teach, I don't imagine, Steve, and that is that fearlessness we saw, crashing into the fences. We saw Torrey Hunter do that in his great tenure with the Twins as well.
That just comes from desire to catch the ball. Guys like Torrey and Puckett and Buxton, they've never seen a fly ball they didn't think they could catch.
And now inside, 2-1.
So when you take off after it, your instincts say catch the ball, regardless of where it ends up. Fun to watch.
And fun to pitch in front of.
Sure.
Twins staff had some issues last year, but they had a really good defensive outfield out there, and the hope is that the pitching will be better this year, and the outfield defense might be a big part of that. But with the Red Sox, as you said, they don't apologize at all for their outfield defense either.
Yes, I think a lot of Red Sox fans are surprised that Jackie Bradley Jr. has not won a Gold Glove yet with how great he's played out in the outfield. He's one of the best I've seen. And Mookie has 2 Gold Gloves in right.
Knocked down by Jay, and he'll finish the inning himself. But the Red Sox respond with a 3-run bottom of the first.
Protect the plate now, Scotty.
We've got a lot going on this spring. We could really
From JetBlue Park in Fort Myers, I'm Dick Bramer from Fox Sports North, here with Steve Lyons of Nesson, and we'll be joined by Garen Austin of Nesson on the sideline, and hope to give you some unique perspective on both teams tonight. A week and a half left in spring training. Twins open on the road. The Red Sox do. The Twins will work their way up to Baltimore to start the season on March 29th, and the Red Sox will open then too, but they'll be indoors in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, indoors, and then move on to Miami, where they'll also be indoors, and finally open up on the 5th of April at home against Tampa Bay again. The Red Sox will play Tampa Bay 10 times in the month of April.
Pitch is a strike called to Eric Ibar. Be the second time in 3 years that the Twins have opened their season in Baltimore, and they're certainly hoping that they'll have better luck this year than they did 2 years ago when they started in Baltimore, lost all 3 games in Baltimore, and then lost the next 6 and started their season with a 9-game losing streak. Hot smash past Devers, and Ibar slashes a base hit down the left field line. Ibar aboard, and that'll bring up Bobby Wilson.
Now, Devers playing in because of the bunt, and this is what Ibar does, just slaps it right past him. He's been an excellent player, being able to do things like that, handle the bat. I can't imagine that maybe Rod Carew hanging around in the Twins organization in the camp hasn't talked to him a little bit about how to play that just like that.
Here's a journeyman catcher, Bobby Wilson, in Twins camp. Twins expect to head north with 2 catchers, and those catchers would be Jason Castro, the regular catcher in his second year with the Twins, and then Mitch Garver, who came up through the Twins system, expecting to be the backup catcher for the Twins. But the Bobby Wilsons of the world, always nice to have in case of an injury. A little bit low, and now Porcello doing a better job keeping the ball down, and he looks in toward Jeff Kellogg saying, hey, where was that? I need that pitch.
Yeah.
2-0 to Wilson.
I had a long talk with Bobby Wilson before the game tonight, and he said there was quite a bit of interest in him, and he said the first team that put an offer on the table to him was the Boston Red Sox. But he said, look, I looked over here and saw what they have when they Sandy Leon, what he did a couple of seasons ago, and how well he is as an accomplished catcher behind the plate. And then Vasquez, who's kind of broke out last year, the good year. And then Blake Swihart, who's knocking on the door. He said, I didn't really see anywhere to go. So he turned down Dave Dombrowski's offer. And an offer from the Mets, Cleveland. He also said, I'm 35 years old. I played all year last year in AAA. I'm not sure that I want to do that again.
Right. 3-1 to Wilson. And he takes ball 4. So now the Twins with a threat, responding to the 3-run Boston first. Porcello giving up a base hit. Now he walks Wilson, and that'll bring up Zach Granite.
Porcello not happy with the call on that pitch either. Let's check out a replay of this pitch, and where does this miss? Well, down, I guess. But at least he's throwing the ball now where he wants it down there.
First and second, nobody out. Zach Granite at the plate with Devers, the third baseman, in on the grass. Mentioned Rod Carew. The Twins have done a great job over the years bringing the Carews and Olivas, Blylevens, people like that into camp to work with some of the younger players. And Carew has spent a lot of time with Zach Granite. There was a situation the other day where the third baseman was playing back, first and third and 2 down. And I thought to myself, well, I know what Carew would have done in that situation. Dropped down a bunt. And on the first pitch, that's exactly what Zach Granite did. He dropped down a bunt base hit, drove in a run. And so it's one thing to have the Carews of the world in camp. It's another to have pupils willing to take the lesson given and put it in play.
Nobody bunts anymore. There's so many opportunities, especially with 2 outs and a guy on third base. Drop a bunt down, he walks home, you walk to first base, you score a run. No one does that.
2-1 now. Porcello's having a difficult time again here in the second inning.
Bunt hits don't get you on the highlights.
Well, Rod Carew was the best in his era and perhaps one of the best of all time.
He was a magician with the bat. And then once you would move in as the third baseman, and as he did to me many times, he'd just slap it by you.
Down and in 3-1. By the way, Rod Carew is doing just fine. I've spent some time with him over the last few days, and he, of course, the recipient of a new heart and new kidney, and he is in camp and active and feeling good. So we're happy to report that as well. On deck hitter is Jordan Pacheco, and it's 3-1, and Granite takes outside. So neither starting pitcher has done well at all here. 8 batters faced for Porcello, and he's only retired 3 of them.
He's really struggling mechanically right now, trying to figure out where his release point is, and that ball had good movement, but not in the strike zone.
Base is loaded.
Daniel Vangie out there to have one of those mound meetings. You got to count them these days, right? You
That's
get
right.
6 of them.
Yeah, Twins already burned one with Garvin Austin going out there. Well, here's Pacheco, and again, he was not in the original starting lineup. Kenny Vargas designated for assignment or release late afternoon today.
That's a bad day when you're in the starting lineup and get released. Right? That's hard to do.
Vargas bounced around back and forth from the AAA club to the big league club last year. A switch hitter with tremendous power and one of the more popular guys in the clubhouse. But when the Twins signed Logan Morrison a few days ago, and Morrison, that type of player, a first baseman DH type, it was I think the handwriting was on the wall for Kenny Vargas. We wish him the best. Strike one to Pacheco. And a check swing ball, 1-1. I don't know that Porcello's too happy with Jeff Kellogg's strike zone here throughout the second inning.
Yeah, he's not having fun right now. It seems like when he throws the ball the way he wants and where he wants, he's not getting the call. And then there's too many balls that aren't finding the strike zone on their own.
And coming inside, Pacheco swings over the top. 1-2.
That's the sinking fastball that he's been looking for. That's the one he wants to throw.
Pacheco's bounced around, spent some time with the Colorado Rockies, Arizona Diamondbacks. A couple years ago, 51 at bats with the Reds. Catcher by trade, getting a chance to play some at first base, and now outside 2-2.
I was talking with him earlier, and he said, I said, where ideally where do you want to play? He goes, I'd like to be a catcher. I'd like to say I'd like to be a catcher, but when you say that, then you have to do it. He says, not an easy position to go out there and do that every day. He said, I do like the corner infield spots, but then you're expected to hit more home runs than I hit.
Just over 1,000 major league at bats over the years, and when you are 32 years of age and you're trying to stay in the big leagues as a fringe player, you'll play anywhere you're asked to play.
Oh, I know.
31 pitches for Porcello, and he's looking for his first out of the second inning. Tap foul to stay alive.
Good breaking ball right there. Maybe Porcello's starting to settle in a little bit. Maybe found something there.
Let's see Buxton on deck. With the Twins getting 3 hits. They've taken a couple of walks. Now the number 9 batter up there with a chance to do some damage. And a call third. Flip the corner inside, 1 away.
Much better at bat against Pacheco in this time right here. That's a awfully difficult pitch for a right-hander to handle. Seems like if you hit that, you just hit it right off your shoe tops. If you take it, it's strike 3.
Buxton bounced the first pitch he saw to short to start the ball game. Bit of a slow start to spring training for Buxton, who got off to a slow start in the regular year last year and then really turned it on. If there was such a thing as an MVP award for the second half of the year, Buxton would have gotten some votes. But he got off to a terrible start, and he's open for a much better start this year. Popped up, straight up in the air. And infield fly rule's called. And the ball's dropped. It doesn't matter. And now Granite runs to second. Granite forces the issue. Now
Ibar scores, though.
Ibar scored on the play. And I didn't see a runner being tagged. And the umpires, I think, screwed this up. Granite made a base running mistake. The infield fly rule is the batter's out and the runners go at their own risk, but Granite forced the issue. But I did not see a tag of a runner. And while Ibar came streaking home, now there's the tag of the third base coach.
Yeah.
Or of Wilson.
Bobby Wilson is who Brock Holt tagged.
So a run will score. And there will be 2 outs recorded on the play. The pop-up because of the infield fly rule. And the takeaway from this would have to be the base running mistake by Zach Granite, even though the Twins got a run on the play. And I guess beyond all of that, credit Ibar for an alert base running play, scampering home from third base.
Yeah, because it's not like a double play where the run doesn't count. It was the second out was made after Ibar came scampering home to score.
So now Paul Molitor will be given an explanation after Joey Cora was. But again, I did not see Wilson get tagged as Ibar came home.
Yeah, I thought when they threw the ball down to Brock Holt, I think he tagged Wilson.
So the question is whether the tag was made before the run scored, but we believe the run will count. We believe the score is 3-2, and we believe we'll have more baseball in a moment.
Bring a championship back to Boston is
Well, there was a confusing play to end the top of the second inning. And most of the principles involved seem to be confusing the base runner, even the pitcher, Rick Porcello.
Well, this is an infield fly, so everybody on the base should stay still. That hitter's out, so that's the second out of the inning. So Porcello comes and tags home. That means nothing because the runners aren't going anywhere anyway. But Granite took off for second base. That forced Bobby Wilson off of second base, so Holt goes over and tags him. That's the third out of the inning. But in the meantime, Ibar had scampered home between the second and third outs. That's why his run scores.
Casey Crosby, the new Twins pitcher, left-handed pitcher coming out of the bullpen in relief of Miles J. So again, just to recap the play, a base running blunder by Zach Granite, but an alert play by the veteran Ibar once Granite forced the issue for the other two base runners. He scampered home and scored the second run of what could have been a bigger inning. So 2 outs recorded on the play. It's 3-2, and your batter is Devin Marrero. A foul for strike one, slow breaking ball for strike two.
Infield fly rule's been the same since we were kids, and they always do everything. They always say exactly what it is. Infield fly, batters out, runners advance at their own risk.
And the batter's out if fair. If that ball had been foul, then there would have been no play. So it's an infield fly if it's a fair ball and the ball drifted back, landing maybe on the edge of the grass. Foul ball, still 2 strikes to Marrero. And a foul off a leg. And now the score is 3-1.
They're not. I saw that the umpire pointed at home plate before and counted the run. The run is not on the scoreboard, however.
And we saw how long it took for Wilson to be tagged, and Ibar hustled. And he didn't just jog. I mean, he hustled across the plate. I thought he crossed the plate.
He crossed the plate long before the second out was made.
The third out.
Or the third out. The second out of that play.
2 strikes and a foul back to the screen.
And it wasn't a force out. Holt had to go tag Wilson. So I'm thinking if it was a force out, then it could have been a continuous double play where it wouldn't matter if he scored before the out was made, but it wasn't that. This is confusing, and I'm probably just confusing people even more by talking about it.
Another 2-strike pitch from Crosby, and missing low. Now the only thing that would not allow the run to score would be if the infield fly rule wasn't called, but I saw, and I'm not sure which base ump it was, whether it was Brian Honor or Tim Timmons, pointing with his finger in the air, calling the infield fly rule from his base umpiring position. And a swing and a miss. And finally, Marrero is retired, 1 away. So we believe the score is 3-1 because that's what the scoreboard is telling. Scoreboards don't lie, do they? But we think the score should be 3-2. And if it were a regular season game, we'd be reviewing all of that, I'm sure. Or the people in New York would be. Here's Mookie Betts. Singled and scored in the first inning. Stole a base in between the hit and the run, and there's strike 1. Miles J had a difficult first inning. First 4 batters reached. 3 of them scored. Bouncer to short. Scooped up by Escobar. 2 down.
Escobar made that play look so easy. It was a much more difficult play than it was. It took a funny hop on him late, and he just made an adjustment with his feet and his body and backed up 1 step and made the catch. You can see him talking to him saying, man, that was a funny little hop I got. He can pick it, can he?
At third, short, second, and early in his Twins career, they ran him out there in the outfield. And if you're a utility infielder these days, it seems like you've almost got to spend some time in the outfield as well, with teams, carrying just a 3 or 4 man bench. The term utility infielder is almost, you're a dinosaur. You've got to be able to almost, it seems, spend some time in the outfield too. Bouncer to first, and the bat nearly makes it to first base as well. Good inning for Crosby as he sets the Red Sox down 1-2-3.
Today we
Rick Porcello still out there. It's a 3-1 ball game until we're told otherwise. Immediately after the play that ended up finishing the top of the second inning, Alex Cora came out to talk to the umpire. Paul Molitor was given an explanation, and they apparently ruled that Ibar's run did not count. Max Kepler will lead things off for the Twins against Porcello. Kepler drove a double to left center field his first time up. Scored the game's first run. Down low, ball one.
So Alex Cora was talking to one of the cameramen down there in between innings. He said, hey, this score should be 3-2, but it's not. We'll take it. Said it should be
Alex said that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now a one hopper backhanded nicely by Moreland, and Porcello to the bag. Hit right off the end of the bat, but still a nice backhanded play by the Gold Glove winning first baseman.
That's so consistently good over there is Mitch Moreland, and Porcello does a great job of getting over here too. This is an easy play for a pitcher to forget to go over and cover first base. Gets there just in time to make the play.
One down, and now Escobar. He grounded out to Moreland in the first inning. Check swing, ball one. I mentioned Escobar filling in at a number of infield positions, and I think he hopes that his outfield days are behind him. But of course, for a couple of years, the Twins had both Eduardo Escobar and Eduardo Nunez, very similar type of players. And even Nunez saw some time in the outfield in his time with the Twins. Happy to report that Nunez is fine. In a game against the Twins at CenturyLink Stadium across the way here in Fort Myers, Nunez was hit by a pitch not in the lineup tonight, but hey, we found a run.
Well, I'm pretty sure that we were correct up here, and it was just took a little time for everyone to get it figured out.
So Escobar and Nunez filled kind of the same job description for a while with the Twins, and now Nunez, of course, is with the Red Sox. Now they're still telling us it's 3-1.
Well, we have two scoreboards, and many times down here the scoreboards are different, like they are now. The manual one, they have to change that a little bit later.
Well, how about we wait till the ninth inning, and if the run counts and it doesn't force the teams to play extra innings, we'll go with that. Here is Eddie Rosario. He hit a double, drove in a run his first time up. Pitch is up, ball one. And Rosario, like Buxton and so many of his teammates, really had a great last 2 months of the season. The Twins, as many of you may remember, pivoted and became sellers at the end of July. And then the Twins in August went off and won 20 ball games and found themselves in the wild card hunt. Here's a little flare behind third. It's a foul ball.
Traded away their closer.
Jaime Garcia, who was added a week before he was traded, was dealt.
Yeah.
And then ended up pitching well for the Yankees in the wild card game against the Twins. 1-2 to Rosario. Big thrill for Rosario and the other Twins players from Puerto Rico, because the Twins are playing a couple of regular season games in Puerto Rico. Chop to Moreland. Porcello covers, and a half step ahead of Rosario. Porcello responds and rebounds with a 1-2-3 third inning.
Here's
Welcome back to JetBlue Park. On Monday, the Twins announced that they signed Lance Lynn to a one-year contract. I talked to his former manager, Tony La Russa, who said that Lynn will be outstanding for the Twins. La Russa told me that Lynn is everything you want in a teammate. He said in between starts, he's a worker, and he will be in the dugout cheering on his teammates. And he said when it comes his time to pitch, he is a competitor, and he will not back down. He said that he really attacks the hitters. He never makes excuses, and he always takes responsibility. And guys, La Russa said that Lynn is always one of those players that he is always going to follow and will always cheer for, except for now when he plays against the Red Sox.
I had a chance to talk to Tony, and he was asking me to say hello to Lance Lynn the first time I had the opportunity to do that. And then he said a lot of the same things he told Guerin. And, you know, that kind of made me cock my eyebrow a little bit. I mean, this guy's a starting pitcher, and it's not that often that you hear about starting pitchers being great clubhouse presences. Those compliments usually say for position players, but he went out of his way to talk about all the players that he's coached. There's the Hall of Fame manager next to Allard Baird, former general manager of the Royals. Of all the players he's managed, Tony La Russa said Lance Lynn was his favorite in terms of having a clubhouse presence.
And of course, and that rarely comes from a pitcher as well.
Yeah.
You usually don't think of a pitcher being a team leader necessarily, because they only go 30 times a year. Tony La Russa, of course, now a special assistant to Dave Dombrowski here in the Red Sox organization.
Hanley Ramirez, the batter, and the count's 0-2. And Crosby is at least doing what Miles Jay struggled to do, and that is throw strikes and get ahead of hitters. Jay really struggled in the first inning. Ended up falling behind Ramirez and ended up giving up a 2-run double.
One more note on Lance Lynn. Lynn is 6'5", 280. And there's not a lot of extra pounds on him. He's solid.
And in the dirt now, 2-2. Ramirez, Martinez, and Moreland, the 3, 4, and 5 batters for the Red Sox, leading, we believe, now 3-2. And there's a called third strike. Crosby shaving the outside corner. One down. Well, it has to be 3-2 now, because the scoreboard in front of the green monster here says it's 3-2.
Having a little trouble getting that 0 out and turning it around to a 1, but indeed they scored that second run. Crazy play. But Ibar clearly scampered home and crossed home plate before the ball was thrown down to Brock Holt, and Brock Holt then tagged Bobby Wilson for the 3rd out of the inning.
Here's J.D. Martinez, and he takes up an away ball 1. Martinez drove in the 3rd run of the first inning with a double. Crosby coming out of the minor league camp to pitch. Twins hope a couple of effective innings. Their starter Miles Jay just went 1 inning and struggled. 1-1 to Martinez. Fouled away.
We've seen Martinez use the entire field. They played against Tampa Bay. They put the shift on him, so all he did was hit 3 line drive base hits to right field. And then the next day he pulled a couple balls beating the shift into left field. Hit a big fly ball, I believe over at the Twins ballpark, into a stiff wind. They got caught. Buxton ran it down, caught it right at the wall, but that was a ball that was probably a home run with no wind.
Back to the right side. Crosby's got to get to the bag. Flip from Pacheco, 2 away. Yeah, I saw that as well. That was a ball that would have been well over the green monster and left well over any wall in a major league park, but the wind was blowing in about 25 miles per hour.
That's another excellent example of what Buxton's able to do too. The ball was hit high in the air, but Buxton was playing him really the other way, playing way over in the right center field gap, and he ran all the way across the entire outfield to snag that ball at the wall in left center field.
Here's Moreland with 2 gone, and Crosby's having a wonderful outing here. 5 up, 5 down. My takeaway from that game was watching Chris Sale pitch, and he was very good, very strong. But I was watching him throw a lot of first pitch changeups, and I was watching his fastball clocked at 91, 90 miles per hour until there were men on base. And then he reached back and got 97.
97.
And that was impressive. I had a chance to greet Chris briefly this afternoon, and I said, that's the Chris Sale that I remember
with the
White Sox. And I can promise you that Twins are quite happy he's not in the American League Central anymore. Up and in. 3-0.
Well, he dominated most of the season last year. Fell off just a little bit last few weeks of the season. Some people were speculating that he was tired. They've tried a different plan this year. Backed most of their starters off. Not throwing as much in spring training in the hopes that they'll be fresher at the end of the season.
Paul Molitor hoping that his starting rotation will be better than it was last year. Twins had some good starters, certainly Irvin Santana, Jose Barrios, but they ran a lot of people up through their minor league system to start. Brought a lot of people over from other organizations to start. And the hope is, with the signing of Odorizzi and Lynn,
2 good signs,
that and they will start the year without Irvin Santana, who's got a finger issue he's rehabbing. Want to know to Devers, and now back in the strike zone. Crosby evens the count.
Red Sox certainly have questions in their starting rotation going in too. When you look at Stephen Wright, Erod, and Pomeranz, all not expected to start the season. There's Chris Sale. Most likely will be your opening day starter.
And a called strike, and it's 1-2.
All 3 of those guys, Wright, Pomeranz, and Rodriguez, have all thrown live bullpen, live hitting sessions in the minor league fields, getting closer and closer to live action. But most likely all 3 of them could not start the season.
Runner takes off, pitch fouled back. You saw David Price, a hit over 4 innings yesterday, the day after Chris Sale stifled the Twins handily. So I don't think there's any question in the top end of the Boston rotation when you go Sale, Price, provided they're both healthy. And then you hope the rest of the rotation, as you said, will return to health.
An impressive thing about that Sale outing too.
Fly ball center field. Buxton retreats and makes the catch to end the inning. A couple of good innings for Crosby, and we head to the 4th in a 3-2 game.
New
3-2 the Red Sox in front as we head to the 4th inning. Dick Bramer and Steve Lyons. Aaron Austin joining us as well. Eventually in New England the weather will be like this. Eventually in Minnesota the weather will be like this. Well, here's what they're doing in the minor leagues to kind of experiment with some things. And the top one I think is the most notable, the one that seems to be drawing the most criticism, where as they did in the WBC in extra innings, the inning will start with a runner on second base.
What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, who cares what I think? You're a player.
No. I definitely want to hear what you think.
I don't like it. I didn't like it in the WBC. The only good thing is it kind of, I guess, re-emphasized the notion of being able to bunt. I mean, why wouldn't you bunt with a runner at second? Here's Adrianza. Looks like he's going to start this inning at second base anyway, legitimately, by hitting a double. And Adrianza's aboard with a leadoff double here in the 4th.
I've been pretty vocal about a lot of the changes that have been made in the game. I think they're ruining the game we love. I don't like replay. I don't like the changes they made at second base. I don't like the changes they made at home plate, that the catcher can't block the base. And putting a guy on second base, where does that come from? It's fundamentally changing the way the game is played. And I don't like it.
Well, you can play for 1 run in extra innings, right? So you got a guy at second base, you lay down a bunt, you get the runner in, and then the home team is actually on the defensive if the visiting team does what they're supposed to do and be able to advance runners. I didn't like it in the WBC, and I don't, and I applaud Major League Baseball for experimenting with it and trying it in the minor leagues. They tried the pitch clock last year, and eventually I think we'll see that up here.
That's something that I don't mind as much, because you're not changing the way the game's played. You're telling the players to play.
Right.
Get moving. Let's go. There's no reason for you to be standing up around the mound, picking your nose, or doing whatever else you do for more than 15 seconds before you throw the next pitch. Get going. And the one thing that I would like to see change too, everyone's talking about pace of play, and the more you talk about it, it seems like we're beating a dead horse. But it's got to be up for the players to get it done themselves, because they have to start understanding that they're losing a generation of fans because the game isn't moving quickly enough for them. Call strikes. If the umpires called more strikes, the hitters would know that they'd have to be aggressive up there, and the game would move along much more quickly. You may sacrifice a teeny bit of offense, but this team, this game saw more home runs last year hit than in any time in the history. So if you lose a few of those, I think we can live.
Bounce to the right side, but foul. Research has shown that the average time per pitch between pitches has grown 3 seconds in the last 10 years, from what it was in 2007 to what it was in 2017. The average time between pitches grew by 3 seconds.
And think about how many pitches in a
300.
game.
Let's just go with 300. So you're talking 15 minutes there of extended playing time because there's more time between pitches. Now there are a lot of factors. Ibar taking a close pitch, missing a ball. There are a lot of factors, and mound visits are a part of that. That's part of the reason why they've restricted mound visits this year. But just the time between pitches has grown by 15 minutes over the course of a full game.
There's just not that much to think about.
2-2 to Ibar, and a veteran trying to advance. At the very least, Adrianza at third base fails, and striking out one away. And that'll bring up Bobby Wilson.
There's that good sinker right there. That's one he's really been working on too. You throw that right at the belt buckle of a left-hander and get that to come back and nip the inside part of the plate. It's a tough pitch to hit if you swing at it.
And now Wilson, who drew a walk his first time up. Twins with the tying run at second. Now one away in the 4th. Porcello, a rugged first inning. If anything, maybe struggled more in the second inning. The weird play that ended the inning. Here's a liner to the second baseman, and Adrianza gets back. Wilson retired 2 away. But now Porcello has set down 7 of the last 8 batters. Here's Zach Granite, drew a walk, and then created all the confusion one player can on a baseball field when he went to second after the infield fly rule had been called. And a first pitch strike. Granite last year had a phenomenal year at AAA. Ended up in Rochester hitting .338 after being promoted from High A. Spent some time down there in a rehab assignment. And Twins are convinced that he'll be able to hit for not a lot of power, but he'll be able to hit at this level.
International League All-Star last season. I want to show you one more look at that play that happened in the second inning that was so crazy. Bases loaded. Infield fly rule was called, but Swihart didn't catch the ball. Porcello's going to go tag home. This means nothing because the runners don't have to run anywhere. Now there was a runner forced off of second base. Brock Hall. See, there you see Ibar scoring. That run scores before Holt can make the tag for the third out of the inning. That's why Ibar's run counted.
Yeah, about 4 seconds before the third out was recorded.
Porcello was confused because when the ball was dropped, he was thinking, well, now the runners have to run, but they don't. In fact, they're not supposed to run. The out is made by the hitter as soon as he hits the fly ball. Porcello tagging home plate didn't mean anything. Then he realized that Granite was trying to force the catcher, Bobby Wilson,
right
off of second base, and that's where they made outs.
On the ground, hit right to the second baseman, Holt, and the Twins don't do anything with a leadoff double. Nice job by Porcello, pitching around the double, preserving the 3-2 Boston lead. Hit now in the fourth inning against a new Minnesota pitcher, Tyler Kinley. Into the ball game as a Rule 5 draftee by the Twins. After a couple of effective innings by Crosby, it'll be Kinley now. Hard throwing right-hander. And the Twins, if they're going to keep him, will have to find room for him in what has been a crowded bullpen so far this year for Minnesota.
You said he was Rule 5 guy? Well, then you better find room for him.
Twins for years, well, they were late to the party when it came to having power arms out of their bullpen. And so they're taking a look at Kinley, who can throw mid-upper 90s. Has some closing experience. But before the flurry of moves that the Twins made once spring training started, you were with us for the open. You saw the graphic we showed you. Veteran Addison Reed, Fernando Rodney, Zach Duke. Twins professed first order of business was to bolster the rotation, but in reality they bolstered the bullpen. And now you've added some starters, and there's still some guys kind of caught in between. Phil Hughes, where does he figure in? Is he a relief pitcher? Is he a starting pitcher? Right now, with Irvin Santana's injury situation, he's in the rotation. Trevor May is rehabbing from Tommy John surgery. The Twins hope to get him back by the middle months of the season. There's a ball lifted foul off the bat of Brock Holt.
Kyle Gibson in that mix.
Gibson will be in the rotation, but so I mean, it's just there's competition, which is a good
problem to have.
Yes.
Oh,
and so Kinley is trying to figure out where in the world he will pitch this year. Came up through the Miami organization. This ball hit down the line and into the corner, and Holt will run for a while. Ball dies, and Holt will check into second with a leadoff double. A leadoff double for Brock Holt. Let's go to Garrett Austin.
Well, Dick, Steve, as you guys mentioned some of those acrobatic catches that Byron Buxton made, I was actually talking with Jackie Bradley Jr., and he said game respects game. He said if he was watching Buxton, it was usually a highlight. And what he was able to accomplish last year was pretty special. He said when you watch those highlights and when you watch those catches, it's just special to watch. He said you really marvel at it and you get excited. He said you got to give props where props are due. And guys, I think there's mutual respect there.
Well, I think so, and I think Jackie Bradley Jr. is the perfect guy to talk about Buxton and the struggles of Buxton early in his career, because Jackie Bradley Jr. had kind of the same career arc going early in his career where he was really struggling at the plate, and Buxton certainly did that, and now they're both very accomplished major league outfielders and very good out in the field.
Never affected his defense at all. In fact, you know, we showed a lot of those highlights with Buxton running all over the field catching them, but we have a few of those highlights with JBJ too. I'm sure we'll get to some of those. There he is right there. He makes everything look so easy. You're making plays out there up against the wall, doing what you have to do. That is such a tough corner out in the triangle of Boston to try to cover that area. Does it with ease.
Jackie Bradley Jr. 2014 hit under 200, 384 at bats and 121 strikeouts. And Buxton struggled mightily making contact, and the Twins are hoping that he turned a corner in the middle of last year. Swihart at the plate and a 2-0 count. He chases something upstairs, and it's 2-1.
Swihart with the 2 home runs and 9 RBIs down in his spring training this year. Tops on the Red Sox. 7 doubles. He's a guy that's in a situation where they've got to find him a place. He's out of options. They've been playing him a lot, and I'm not sure if they're showcasing him for everybody else or if Alex Cora is showcasing him for himself to figure out what he's going to do with him.
Down and in a ball. So you've got a pitcher who's a Rule 5 selection by the Twins, and the Twins need to decide whether he's part of their 25-man roster or not. Alex Cora looking on, and Swihart, through a different mechanism, is kind of in the same spot with the Red Sox. This is a critical year for Swihart in terms of his future with the Boston Red Sox. Bouncer up the middle. Runner advances. Escobar throws to first, and Swihart's retired one down. And that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Devin Marrero.
If you don't keep Swihart on the Major League roster, you lose him. Can't send him down anymore.
Twins will bring the infield in here with Holt at third and 1 away. So each team with the identical situation in their halves of the 4th inning. And where the Twins did not advance Adrianza after his leadoff double, the ground out by Swihart at least got Holt to third and forces the Twins to bring the infield in. Just off the outside corner.
Those are the kind of things that Alex Cora notices too. If you remember, you know, Alex Cora was basically a utility player his whole career as well. So he knows the importance of moving runners over like Swihart just did. Sure, Swihart would like to get a hit to drive him in, but if you're not going to get a hit, you better make a productive out and get the guy to third base.
And a half swing, a strike, 1-1. So you may want to bookmark the Porcello strikeout of Ibar in the top of this 4th inning. Veteran hitter was trying to at least hit the ball on the ground to the right side to get the runner up, but Porcello came up with a big strikeout. Check swing outside 2-1. Kinley with just 3 starts. He is a relief pitcher by trade. We mentioned some closing experience with 44 minor league saves. Popped up, backing out of play.
And he's lighting up the radar gun. That one at 97 miles an hour.
And through the minor leagues, more than a strikeout per inning pitched. Baltimore Orioles they've got 3 Rule 5 pitchers in camp. 3.
Yes. Well, they need pitching.
One would think that one might make it. There's a half swing and strike 3. Big strikeout for Kinley, and that's the second out. And maybe as big as Porcello's strikeout of Ibar. 2 down, and the runner still at third.
Morel still struggling with a bat in his hands, and you can almost understand why. You're looking at 97-mile-an-hour fastballs, and then you get that slider down and away. You have to commit to try to catch up with the fastball, but you don't get the fastball, and you're already lost yourself. Check swing, and you're done.
And now the toughest out of this inning for Kinley to get, and that's Mookie Betts. Breaking ball over a strike.
This is that situation we talked about before. You see how where nobody bunts. You see the third baseman way back. Mookie Betts could drop a bunt down the third base line and walk to first, and Holt could walk home.
Pitches up, 1-1.
Mookie, the only player in the American League in the last 2 seasons with 100 runs scored and 100 RBIs. He'll be batting leadoff this year, so those RBI numbers figure to come down a little bit.
Popped up and backing out of play, and Kinley gets ahead 1-2.
One of the reasons why he doesn't bunt that often is because he can do this. That ball was out of this park in about 2 seconds.
One and 2 from Kinley to Betts. Got him looking, and a marvelous job by Kinley. Pitching around the leadoff double and striking out Mookie Betts with the runner at third. We head to the 5th in a 1-run game. Here, Bert Blyleven doesn't let me read this, so here we go. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Boston Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins. Now, how was that?
Like a lawyer wrote it.
Well, but how was it?
Excellent.
How was it read?
I like the way you, especially the emphasis on the word disseminated. I like that.
Jordan Pacheco will lead things off against Rick Porcello, and there's a fastball on the outside corner. Pacheco called out on strikes. Twins had the makings of a really big inning in the second. With bases loaded, nobody out, Pacheco was called out on strikes. And Buxton hit the pop-up in front of home plate that eventually led to a run.
With a whole bunch of other stuff in between.
2 strikes to Pacheco. Mentioned that the Twins adding Pacheco to the starting lineup, and he swings over the top of a sinking fastball, 1 down. They also made a room today by releasing Kenny Vargas. There's a pitch running in on the right-handed batter.
It's a good late movement that Porcello's looking for to get the swing and miss.
The designation of assignment or release. Here's Buxton threatening to bunt, taking a strike. The designation of Kenny Vargas today made necessary because the Twins swung a trade. They traded a minor leaguer for an outfielder out of the Yankee organization, Jake Cave. Cave was designated for assignment when the Yankees signed Neil Walker. Here's a bunt right back to Porcello, and even Buxton can't outrun that. 2 down. So here we are on March 16th, and the Twins continuing to change the roster, and Kenny Vargas is gone.
They're making changes for the better. Added some good talent.
Twins in a division where the king of the hill still the Cleveland Indians, and then you've got 3 teams in various stages of a rebuilding project: Kansas City, Chicago, and Detroit in the dirt to Kepler ball 1.
Well, in our neck of the woods, we certainly pay attention to what the Yankees do.
Right.
They made some big acquisitions this offseason.
Now the Yankees can make accusations too.
Yes, well, they always do to us.
Anthony's a strike 1-1.
Check out some of the Yankee additions and subtractions.
And the big one, of course, Stanton, who fits into an already potent right-handed lineup for the Yankees. Swing and a miss by Kepler. And then again, they acquired Neil Walker a few days ago, but they had to make roster space for him, and that made Jake Cave available, and now he's in the Twins organization. And Paul Molitor saying earlier that he may make the trip to Bradenton as soon as tomorrow.
Porcello thought he had a strikeout there. Really working that pitch, that inside sinking fastball.
And a foul tip. Swihart hangs on, and Porcello, true to his form recently, struggling in the early innings, but now settling into a groove, and he's retired 6 men in a row.
Today we run to raise awareness about the help that is out there for our veterans. Today we run for the soldiers deployed in
Couldn't find a cloud if you tried. It's a beautiful night here in Fort Myers, and the Red Sox selling out tonight's game as well. And they lead the Twins 3-2. And Porcello really found something after the second inning and rode it through the third, fourth, and fifth innings.
Yeah, he really settled in. I mean, that's been his big problem. A couple of seasons ago, it was shutdown innings. The Red Sox would score a run and he'd go out and give it right back. Lately, though, it's been the first inning is where he has a little trouble. Can't settle into the action quick enough. And then after that, he ends up doing a good job.
Gabriel Moya pitched in a few ball games for the Twins toward the end of last season. Made a rapid climb once he got into the Twins organization. Pitched in 13 games for Chattanooga, and pitched in 6 ball games late in the season, some of them in some key spots for the Twins. Twins traded catcher John Ryan Murphy to Arizona. Got a Double-A pitcher, and he's got a very unique delivery and style about him. A lot of exaggerated movement.
He throws everything at you but the ball.
And that's his strength.
Yeah.
A changeup that never seems to get to home plate. And Benintendi swings through it 1-1.
You see a lot of stuff coming out of the stretch, but it's not even really a stretch. He never stops moving and then really goes.
And he was called for a balk last year at the big league level. He's got to quiet some of that down with men on base. And he too is a depth guy at this point. Whether he breaks camp with the team maybe has less to do with how well he does in the spring, but the competition that the Twins have brought into camp this year for pitchers in any role.
I don't even think Moya's making contact with the rubber there, is he? He's in the Red Sox dugout when he's pitching.
Right on the corner, maybe.
I mean, he's like 2 inches in front of it.
2-2. Foul back. Minor league numbers pretty good through the Arizona organization. Jumped into the Twins Double-A team at Chattanooga and was almost unhittable. And fouled back. 6 1/3 innings over 7 games last year with the big league club. A couple of walks and a couple of home runs.
Benintendi getting some good hacks in on him. This guy has good stuff. Slider, that changeup you talked about.
There's a changeup and a check swing, no swing. And it's 3-2.
Pretty close.
Full count. Popped up into the twilight. Adrianza over for a look. But it's just over the railing and into the Boston dugout.
That's strange.
I'm not sure Adrianza saw that ball. It is tricky this time of the year, whether it's March in Florida or July in Boston or Minnesota. You get to this time of the evening, the twilight, the ball could disappear on you, and I think that's what happened.
I think that landed in the field of play, didn't it? He just didn't track it all the way.
On the 3-2 pitch, and a pitch up and in. Benintendi strikes out, 1 down. And that'll bring up Hanley Ramirez.
High fastball, climbed the ladder on him, just kind of swung right through that. Benintendi had some good hacks at him, but in the end, Moya wins the battle.
You must have faced guys like Moya with a lot of extra movement. You try to discipline yourself to just focus on the release point. But how do you not be distracted when somebody's arms and legs, and everything's moving at the same time.
He's throwing a lot of stuff at you, and it's really difficult. That's the hard part, is to try to find his release point. Might take you a few pitches in order to do it. Oh, we have a few guys like that on this team. Carson Smith seems like he's throwing it at you with his right hip. Porcello, his delivery is wicked.
Drilled over the reach of Escobar into left field, and Hanley Ramirez has his second hit tonight. And that'll bring up J.D. Martinez.
Hanley, good things paying off for him already this spring. 15 pounds lighter. His shoulders aren't bothering him. Easy hit.
Ramirez at first. J.D. Martinez with an RBI double and 2 trips. At the knees, a strike.
I got a feeling the extra movement from Moya won't bother J.D. Martinez that much.
This is an area of concern with a runner at first and all the extra movement. Does Moya come to a complete stretch or stop? He did there, and the ball skied to center, and we'll see if Buxton can track it in the twilight.
Yeah, he eventually does come to a stop. I think it's amazing how much they let relief pitchers get away with now with their deliveries out of the stretch. There's a lot of movement. It takes them forever to actually stop. Just like this guy. He does come to a complete stop eventually.
Here is Mitch Moreland. A fly ball to center and a walk. Foul off the mask of Wilson.
Wake up call. So the umpire come all the way out, toss the ball to the pitcher, come back, dust off the plate, even though there's no dirt on the plate, just to make sure Wilson still has a cognitive thought in his head after taking a shot like that right off the face mask.
One strike to Moreland. And another throw to first. Well, it's something that Moya's worked on, but he did come up last year and seemed to really have a hard time getting into that stretch position. And he's been told that, you know, they will call balks on you if you don't come to a complete stop. At least up here they will. Down and away a ball. Sixth of 7 meetings between the Red Sox and the Twins. A week from Sunday is the final meeting between the two teams and the final game of the Grapefruit League.
Yeah.
For the two teams. Twins will go up the coast and play an exhibition game in D.C. against the Nationals. Two and one. To the right side. Looking forward on that Sunday afternoon telecast to work with Jerry Remy.
Yeah. The Red Sox will finish with a couple games against the Cubs.
And that's where?
Here.
Cubs are coming all the way out here. They must be opening up somewheres maybe against the Marlins. To open their season perhaps. 2-2.
They open with Miami and then we follow them down there.
Up and away now 3-2, and we'll see if the Red Sox do anything with Hanley Ramirez with the full count, 2 out.
Well, the thing he needs to do, he'll be off with the pitch, but he has to make sure that the pitch is actually made. Of course, the Cardinals in this situation would be getting picked off.
Better question is what will the Twins do? They don't have the first baseman holding him on at all. And there he goes, and the pitch chopped foul. Middle of the Boston lineup had a productive first inning. Ramirez with a 2-run double and Martinez with an RBI double. And now Moreland with 2 down and a man aboard. Long day for Paul Molitor. His team scheduled a split squad game. He managed the game this afternoon. Now the game here tonight. Fouled straight back. Still 3-2. Molitor's status was resolved after the Twins lost their one-game wild card play-in game with the Yankees. A couple days after that, Molitor renewed by the Twins for a 3-year deal. And an off-speed pitch gets another swing and a miss, and Moya strands Ramirez at first. We head to the 6th in a 3-2 game.
New show. Need a new show to watch?
Porcello, after kind of a speed bump or two early on, he settled in, got the job done in innings 3, 4, and 5, and now Red Sox go to their bullpen.
It's nice to see him go 5 innings as we get deeper and deeper into spring training. Out of the pen comes Heath Hembree. So far this spring, doing a nice job. An ERA of 1.69, giving up 5 hits in 5 1/3, but just 1 run. Looks like Matheny in center field now.
Rusney Castillo taking over in right field for Mookie Betts. And Hembree on the mound. Mars is in left field for the Red Sox, with J.D. Martinez getting his 3 at-bats, and Heath Hembree on the mound facing Eduardo Escobar.
Brand new outfield for the Red Sox.
Alex Cora and Paul Molitor both wanting to get their regular players 3 at-bats, and in the last week it'll be 4 at-bats, and that's how things get built up over the course of spring training, getting guys ready for the opener, which will be in March this year. There's a ball tap foul. Stan Travis is at third.
First.
Or excuse me, at first. Escobar, Rosario, and Adrianza, we believe, will all hit for the Twins here in the 6th. That's deep down the left field line. And a catch made in the corner for the first out.
Mars tracked it down out there. Mars doing everything today. He caught the ceremonial first pitch today and now runs out there in left field, makes a play.
get in the ball game, get the first chance out of the way right away, one down, and that'll bring up Rosario.
That's a rule, isn't it? When you get put into the game as a defensive replacement, the first ball is always hit to you.
The ball will find you.
Yep.
Here is Rosario, an RBI double in the first, and a ground ball to Moreland in the third. Off speed pitch, missing, ball one. Skied, foul, and out of play.
Well, that one definitely went over the screen.
Yes.
Wasn't sure about the one that Benintendi hit.
Nice to see the expanded netting here at JetBlue Park, something that we will see more and more in the major league ballparks once the season gets started.
Yeah, you know, that's, I mean, safety should be first, and they've extended it way down the lines in most ballparks, which just makes sense.
We were in New York when the little girl was hit by that vicious line drive off the bat of Todd Frazier, and was a very difficult scene to behold. 1-2 to Rosario with one gone in the sixth. Hooked foul.
You get some complaints from some of the fans saying that they don't like looking through the netting, but my comment always was the best seats in the house are behind home plate, and there's always been netting that they've been looking through. So,
and I think what teams have found over the years, as everything has improved in baseball technologically, and the things that we can do that we never used to be able to do, even the netting has gotten better.
Yeah, you can see right through it.
Smaller fibers, clear fibers, and it's wonderful, the upgraded netting that we've seen in ballparks. 1-2 to Rosario. And you see how fine the netting is here at JetBlue. And tap foul.
Now, you've been doing this a long time, Ticken, and I've been around the game 30 years myself. I have always been amazed at how many balls go into the stands that don't hit somebody.
Right.
And many fans aren't paying attention at all when the ball comes their way.
Rosario finally succumbs. Embry gets him on strikes, 2 down. Well, for most of the time that you played, they didn't even protect the dugouts, right? I mean, the dugouts were open.
We were all fair game.
Yeah.
They expected us to be paying attention.
In Minnesota, there are seats protected, but there are seats in the ballpark that are closer to home plate than the pitcher's mound is.
Yeah.
2 down, and here is Adrianza. And a strike. Adrianza with a double, leading off the 4th inning, but the Twins couldn't advance him. Twins got a run in the first, a run in the second, should have scored in the 4th, but didn't, and they trail 3-2. Down and in a ball, 1-1. Adrianza, a bit of a surprise last year for the Twins. He came to the organization with a reputation of being kind of a good field, no-hit utility player, but he actually hit okay last year. Just 162 at-bats, but he hit 265. Put the ball in play, just 25 strikeouts and 162 at-bats. 1-2. Missing inside to even the count. He's been at it for a while, too. This is his 12th year, 13th year of professional baseball.
That's where Hembree gets himself in a little bit of trouble with throwing too many 3-2 counts.
And waving at strike 3. Good inning for Hembree as he sets the Twins down 1-2-3.
At Blue Park. Temperatures in Fort Myers have been colder than usual, and I was talking with Eduardo Nunez the other day, and he told me that he hates playing in cold weather and that it was extremely challenging when he was playing in Minnesota. He said those first couple months of the season were really a struggle for him. He maybe be batting around 200 with no homers, and he would heat up as the weather would heat up. Now, I was also talking with Ryan Lamar this morning, a Michigan native, and he said that he actually likes playing in the cold weather, and guys, he said he prefers it over the extreme heat any day.
Not me.
First pitch fouled back. Thank you, Garen. Of course, I'm from Minnesota, and it's interesting. You're looking around baseball now, Steve, and you know there are a lot of dome stadiums, but it's almost as if they built them in the shape of the letter U. You know, you've got them in the Northwest in Seattle, and you've got them in Toronto, right? And then the dome stadiums work their way down each coast and through the southern part of the country. Texas is going to get a new dome stadium, you know, in Arlington, and they have one in Houston. So where is the weather the worst? Now that we're playing Major League Baseball regular season games in the month of March, it's in the upper Midwest, and Milwaukee's the only franchise that has a dome stadium in the upper Midwest where the weather is the worst.
When you think about it, there have been a lot of dome stadiums built recently because of the hot weather, not the cold weather. Arizona, it's a dome there, not a dome, but a retractable roof because of the heat.
Bobby Wilson working, shaking the cobwebs back a little bit. Moya out there for a second inning of work. Now, wasn't a complaint. There's a half swing and strike 3. Trust me, if someone who broadcasts games 28 years in the Metrodome, I'm glad that the Twins are outdoors.
Ooh.
I did not like the Metrodome. I didn't like indoor baseball.
Who did?
But it's interesting. Well, you played in that place.
Yes,
What'd you think of it?
The garbage bag and right and everything. You know what? The only thing I liked about it was that, you know, if I hit a little weak fly ball over the shortstop's head, when it hit the turf, it bounced so high I could get to second and it would turn it into a double.
Yeah.
That was a dreary place to play.
Well, good outing here for Gabriel Moya. He's faced 5 batters, retired 4 of them, 3 via strikeout, and now he's facing Brock Holt. Grounded to first, and Moya a little late getting to the bag. It doesn't matter. Pacheco covers the bag as well. 2 down.
The Kingdom was equally as dreary.
Swihart will hit a couple of ground balls for the Red Sox catcher. And a strike on the outside corner. Well, as little as the Twins got from Miles J, their starter today, they have to be encouraged with what they've gotten from their relief pitchers. Kinley did a nice job after the leadoff double that he allowed in the 4th inning.
Gave up 3 in the first and nothing since then.
Crosby did a nice job in a couple of innings, and now Moya is, he hopes, ready to cap off an effective 2nd inning of work for him. 2 strikes to Swihart.
I'll tell you, I think the weather does make a big difference. I mean, both of the places I played, Chicago and Boston, freezing for 2 months. You know, it's cold. It's hard to get ready to play. And then one year that I played with the Atlanta Braves, we opened up at home. It was 85 degrees on opening day.
Rolled into the shift. And another good inning for Gabriel Moya as he sets the Red Sox down 1-2-3 in the 6th inning.
Charlie Moore is a
More changes for the Boston Red Sox on the infield this time. With Lynn is in at 3rd. DeJesus is in at 2nd base.
Embry out there for his 2nd inning of work.
He's Ibar, Wilson, and Granite.
Last season, he was kind of a workhorse out of the pen. 62 appearances. He had career highs in virtually every category except wins. It was 4-1 2 seasons ago. It was 2-3 last year, but in every other category, good or bad, he had a much bigger number.
Ibar with a single and a run scored. A big strikeout in the 4th inning after the leadoff double. And a strike 1 and 2. Ibar, Wilson, and Granite due to face Embry here in the 7th inning. And a pitch up. Swihart can't gather it in. 2-2.
Well, the weather down here is going to start jumping back into the 80s. We had about a week of weather in the low 70s.
Foul back. I got blamed for that because I came down from Minnesota on Tuesday, and I got all sorts of grief from the Twins clubhouse.
Well, the mornings have been chilly. Into the 40s.
And my attitude is, if you can't see your breath, it's not cold.
That's a good way to look at it.
Anderson warming up in the Twins bullpen. Tap up the line again, foul.
I'm sure you've seen your breath enough this winter.
It has been a cold winter, not as snowy perhaps as it's been in New England, particularly as of late.
Don't say that to New England fans.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's probably snowed more in New England than it has in Minnesota lately.
Looking at the possibility of another one coming, another nor'easter, maybe around Thursday.
Chopper slowly hit. DeJesus gets Ibar. One away. Nice play. You've got nor'easters in New England. We've got Alberta Clippers in Minnesota.
Yeah. It's a nice play by DeJesus. Has to do everything in one motion, catch and throw, because of the speed of Ibar. Coming in, charging hard. Catch, throw right there all the same time.
Wilson with a walk and a line drive to the second baseman, Brock Holt at the time. Hit hard. Backhanded stop. Lynn across the diamond. A beautiful play for out number 2. A full-length dive for Lynn. And he retires Wilson 2 away.
Lynn's technically a second baseman, but he's bounced around, played a lot of third down here. He's played in the outfield. That's full extension. Quickly to his feet. Maybe he hurried this throw a little bit. That's what he was looking over at Travis about. He said, hey, my bad on the throw, but Sam comes off the bag and makes the easy tag at first base. He was thrown out by a mile.
2 down, and now Zach Granite. In the dirt and high off the backstop, ball 1. Hacked foul off the bat of Granite.
You look at Embry's numbers from last season. 62 appearances, 62 innings. I think he would prefer to be used as a guy who could go more than 1 inning, get up and down, and showing that today. Got through the first inning easily, and he's well into this inning.
And Granite threatens to bunt and takes a strike 0-2, or excuse me, 1-2. Lynn playing back on the skin of the infield. Granite, a left-handed batter, staring right at him, and he thought it was an opportunity perhaps to get a hit.
Well, you brought it up earlier in the ball game about Granite and Rod Carew spending time together.
Just missed clipping the inside corner. 2-2.
You got to be tough if your last name's Granite, don't you think?
And hack foul again over the dugout. Granite grew up in New York, big Yankee fan. Big thrill for him to play in the wild card game last year against the Yankees. 2-2. 32nd pitch for Embry. Enters ball 3. Check swing. No swing. And Granite trying to extend the game for Pacheco in the on-deck circle. Extend the inning. Half swing, should be ball 4. Oh, strike 3 they call. Granite thought he checked, but third base umpire Tim Timmons said no. So that ends the inning. 6 up, 6 down for Embry. Then we go to the bottom of the 7th.
Here's how Old Dominion.
The Red Sox got 3 runs in the first against starter Miles J. Since then, the Twins bullpen's done a nice job.
Yeah, they did. They caught Hanley looking at a fastball in the outer half. There's a good breaking ball right there. That was Kinley, and then Moya comes in with all his stuff, throwing elbows and kneecaps and everything else at you. And he did a pretty effective job as well.
And now Nick Anderson will pitch for the Twins. Right-hander coming out of the Twins bullpen. And Marrero, Castillo, and Matheny, I believe, will be the scheduled hitters.
Look at the numbers in the minor leagues for Nick Anderson, the 44 games. Coming out of that bullpen. So far down here in spring training, he's been stingy. Hasn't got a great opportunity. This will be his 3rd inning of work. He's given up nothing.
Akil Baddoo in the outfield for the Twins. Tanner English is in center field.
I mean, I could sign it for you, but it wouldn't be worth anything.
And staggered behind the plate, it is Pacheco now, who has moved from first base behind the plate. 6 harmless innings at first base. And they move him behind the plate, and he gets drilled in the first pitch.
Yeah, see, that's what he was talking to me about before. He's like, it ain't no fun because now you have to do it.
Yeah. Reginato is in at first base. Leonardo Reginato is in at third. As the Twins empty their bench, and now Pacheco getting checked on. Chris Paul is taking over at first base, and while we try to get you updated as to who's in the game, there's some concern. Pacheco probably telling Paul Molitor, you know, I enjoyed my 6 innings at first base a whole lot better than how this has gone behind the plate.
He said, well, I'd like to call myself a catcher every day, but then you actually have to catch. And it's not that easy.
1 strike to Marrero, and now a ball. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. And we can tell you that Ryan Walker is in at second base.
No, we have one. You do?
And I believe I see Royce Lewis at short. #1 overall pick in the draft last year. Royce Lewis getting a chance to play some at short. Looking forward to seeing him play. Maybe get an at-bat or two here tonight.
The third #1 overall pick in Twins history.
Fouled away. Tim Belcher, a long time ago, 1983. He didn't sign with the Twins and had a great career. And Joe Mauer, who is, of course, had a great career, 3-time batting champion. Gold Glove winning catcher, now the first baseman for the Twins. Had a nice bounce back year last year.
Yes, he did. I thought he was ready to be on a steady decline, and then last year he jumped up and said, wait a minute, I'm not done yet.
Alex Kirilloff, #1 draft pick for the Twins 2 years ago. Missed all of last year with Tommy John surgery. Rare that a position player would have to have that, but Kirilloff had it. A couple years before that, Miguel Sano had Tommy John surgery. Bounced up the middle, and Lewis scoots to his left, and safe at first. Wow. Nice pick by the first baseman Paul, but a rangy play by the shortstop Royce Lewis.
Not so sure he wasn't out, too. I mean, that was a tremendous play. Watch the range of Lewis. Look where he's playing short right now. Comes out of nowhere to come up and grab this ball and then make a throw.
Yeah, I think he was
very
safe.
Close.
Yeah. A little bit of a juggle getting the ball out of his glove there. But showing great range on a ball hit over the mound. It hit the mound. That took some of the starch out of the ground ball. But Lewis already showing some range, even though he didn't get the out. Fouled away. Rusney Castillo swinging at the first pitch. Strike one. Ball thrown wide at first, and runner advances to second base.
We have seen some troubles over there at first base. Pickoff attempts. That
ball just,
wow. Paul tried to catch that with the outside of his glove.
So an error will be charged to the first baseman Paul. One strike to Rusney Castillo. Castillo spent all of last year in Pawtucket. Virtually all of 2016 in Pawtucket.
He's really got nowhere to go. This is a kid, as all Red Sox fans know, signed a big contract, 6 years, $60 million. Has never lived up to it. You're starting to believe that it really wasn't necessarily his fault. He came in as a gifted athlete, but a very inexperienced baseball player. He's been learning on the go ever since, and he's just not major league caliber.
At least not with the Red Sox. It would seem like it might be better for Castillo to start over someplace else, but then who's going to pay the balance of the contract?
Yep.
No, you may not throw that ball.
He's 30 years of age. Knocked down. And Castillo will be retired at first in a close play. Hard smash up the middle.
I don't think Anderson got any leather on that. I think he stopped that with his hip bone or something.
And Marrero stuck at second base. One away.
Let's watch this comebacker to Anderson. May have got a glove on it. Reacted well enough to get the out at first base.
That'll bring up, well, first we're going to have a medical trip to the mound to make sure that Anderson is okay. And he's looking at his right wrist area. So it would have been better perhaps if he had.
This does not count as a mound visit.
No.
kind of hard to see where he got hit from the view from behind. We'll take a look at it.
And they're going to bring him out of the ball game. Maybe got him in the fingers. And so we'll have a delay here. I don't believe the Twins had anyone warming up behind Anderson. So we'll have a bit of a delay here. Anderson's going to come out. And my guess is that that ball got him in the pitching hand and maybe did something to a finger. Well, no, he's pointing to the back of the elbow.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first. Is that it got him up on the elbow, like he kind of crouched over and it hit him in the forearm or elbow.
So Anderson getting an opportunity to pitch in a big league spring training game, but it only lasts a couple of at-bats and some pitches. And Ryan Mason will come out of the pen next to pitch for the Twins.
New show. Need a new show to watch? Show me.
Because of injury, Ryan Mason will come out of the bullpen and get as many warm-up tosses as he feels he needs. Take another look at what happened to Anderson on the one-hopper.
Yeah. Tried to bat it down with his glove and his throwing hand, but it looked like it caught him right off the elbow of his right pitching arm.
So the Twins take Anderson out.
You see Pacheco in there.
In.
See Pacheco in there laughing at him like, see, that hurts when you get hit.
Well, here's Ryan Mason. He's a big guy, 6'6". Doesn't have an overpowering fastball, but he had a good year last year in the Midwest League Class A affiliate for the Twins, Cedar Rapids. A very low ERA. You look at the hits. More than a hit per inning pitch, but then you look at the walks, just 11 of those while he struck out 43. So he'll be charged with getting the Twins through the 7th inning here at least.
It's amazing the amount of playing time guys can get at big league spring training. This guy pitched an A ball last year.
Right.
Told this story before. It's unbelievable. I got put on the major league roster. That was the only time I ever went to spring training in big league camp, was when I was finally on the 40-man roster. I got one at bat. I played a half an inning and got sent down at the end of that week. And then the next year I made the team. But it was like, you see guys now from A ball pitching, getting big league experience at major league spring training. It's amazing what these guys are able to do now. How many at bats they get, how much extra playing time they get.
And an opportunity to make an impression here.
Sure. My impression must not have been that good. Grounded out, made an error at third, and left.
Drilled to left, a base hit. And it'll score another Boston run. So Mason greeted with a ringing single to left. And the Red Sox now lead at 4-2.
Well, Sam Travis, it's hard to sneak a cookie past him. You throw him a fastball middle in, he's going to hammer it somewhere.
When he overthrew me first, trying to pick him off.
That's a no-brainer. Easy to score from second on that play.
I've never understood why they count theirs, though, because that would have been something they could have done with bases instead of
It's like Chad De La Guerra at the plate.
Finished the season at Double-A last year.
Oh, that is the thing.
And Matheny is on deck. Up the line. And the tag is made for out number 2. And Travis goes to second base, 2 down, and that'll bring up Matheny.
You're a left-handed hitter and you hit a little dribbler like that, you're just yelling at the ball to go foul. Hit the grass, do something, get foul somehow.
Matheny, the son of Cardinal manager Mike Matheny. Played Class A ball last year in Salem. Big swing and a miss. Matheny, of course, succeeded Tony La Russa as the Cardinal manager, and La Russa part of the brain trust now here with the Red Sox. On the outside corner, a strike. And again is sitting next to Allard Baird, another pretty smart baseball guy.
Yep.
Former GM of the Kansas City Royals. Tony always enjoyed his managerial matchups against Twins Hall of Famer Tom Kelly when La Russa was with the Oakland A's. The A's and the Twins dominated the old American League West in the late 80s, early 90s. 1-2. And coming down and in, getting a swinging strikeout to end the inning, but the Red Sox get a couple of hits, take advantage of an error to score another run.
Goodbye, sweater.
Twins haven't done anything against the Red Sox since the second inning. Now the next Boston relief pitcher is right-hander Ryan Frazier.
His numbers at AAA Pawtucket got in 46 games.
And he'll be pitching to a new catcher, Jordan Procession. Pacheco will lead things off for the Twins. And Royce Lewis will hit. Two strikeouts for Pacheco. Both at bats against Rick Porcello, and Porcello got him looking once and swinging the other time. High fly, center field. Mathaney's out there to put it away. Twins fans will be eager to see the development of this next player, Royce Lewis, who again was the #1 overall pick in the draft last year. Twins lost 103 games in 2016, and that afforded them the #1 overall pick. A lot of people imagine that Hunter Green, the highly touted two-way player, pitcher and hitter from Southern California, a high schooler, would be the #1 pick. But the Twins, I don't know if they surprised people, but they had their eyes on this guy all along. They had Lewis ranked higher than Hunter Green. Lewis, a one-way player. He's a shortstop right now. A good hitter, good makeup. And he responded well to his adjustment to professional ball last year. As you can see, he moved out of rookie ball to Class A ball and still hit pretty well. Jam shot and a dribbler back to the mound. And Lewis.
Whoa.
An awkward play, and everybody, I think, is okay. Travis wasn't there, and the pitcher.
They're going to come out and look at him. It looked like he might have rolled an ankle or got stepped on.
And Lewis gone on one pitch, so we didn't get a long look at him. But a dangerous play involving the first baseman, the pitcher, and the hitter. Travis late in getting there, and
I wasn't looking at Travis before the ball was hit, but why wasn't he at first base?
I don't know. And then Lewis with a brief reach back to his back of his left leg, and Frazier is going to come out.
Let's see Travis. Well, Travis is off. Well, he thought he might have had to field that ball. So now he's. Frazier really should have thrown it to him. Travis was saying, hey, just lead me with it. Just throw it, and I'll be there to catch it.
So we'll take a break with a pitching change, and Twins fans a little concerned about Royce Lewis and whether he tweaked something in that awkward play at first base. It's 4-2 Boston.
New show. Need a new show.
In the 8th inning, Alex Kirilloff will hit. against left-hander Robbie Scott. Kirilloff, as we mentioned before, the #1 overall pick for the Twins, or the #1 pick for the Twins 2 years ago. And then his development interrupted with Tommy John surgery. He missed all of last year. Talked to him before the game today, and everything feels fine. He's anxious to get back on the field and start playing again. Can you imagine being a young prospect so highly thought of, and as a position player, finding out you need to lose a year with your professional career really just getting underway?
Same thing happened with Christian Vasquez of the Red Sox.
Yeah.
He had Tommy John surgery as a catcher, and of course his arm was his golden ticket. Seems like that's come back full strength again, but
finds himself behind in the count here, 1-2. Fastball burns the outside corner. And a couple of Boston relief pitchers have another 1-2-3 inning as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Wherever you're watching tonight, we hope you're enjoying Grapefruit League play between the Twins and the Red Sox. And Nesson and Fox Sports North teaming up for another spring training game a week from Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern. Noon Central, of course. I'll be joined by Nesson color analyst Jerry Remy and Nesson host Tom Caron. And it'll be Sunday, final spring matchup between the Sox and the Twins. Looks like the Sox are going to win the what are we calling it now? The Challenge Cup?
The
Chairman's Cup.
The Chancellor's Cup.
Chairman's Cup.
Governor's Cup. Tin Cup. Princess's Cup.
Mason's still out there. And we do have, regrettably, a substitution at shortstop, I believe. Or at second base, I'm sorry. Royce Lewis is still out there at short. So that's a relief for Twins fans. And Ryan Walker is the new second baseman. So that Lewis was able to survive physically the awkward play at first base is good news for Twins fans. Danny Mars leading off the 8th against Mason. Pop-up, and Lewis goes back. And it is the left fielder making the catch. Kirilloff, one away.
Was Lewis a high school kid as well?
Yes. Yep.
Out of where?
Southern California.
Okay.
And the Twins also have Nick Gordon, who's the son of a former Red Sox pitcher, Tom Gordon. And he's having a good camp.
The brother of D. Gordon.
Brother of D. Gordon. And so the Twins, who have had a terrible time, frankly, finding anybody to anchor that position, that critical position of shortstop from one year to the next. In the minor leagues, have kind of stockpiled some top draft picks. Gordon is very highly thought of, as is Lewis.
Saw Gordon playing a little second base this spring as well.
Yep. In part because the Twins are unsure about Brian Dozier's long-term future. This is the last year that Dozier is under contract. But the Twins felt comfortable enough with their depth at shortstop to trade yet another shortstop prospect, Jermaine Palacios, to the Rays, and that's how they got Jake Odorizzi, who may end up being the Twins' opening day starter in a week and a half.
Well, if Santana can't go, that might be your best option.
Right.
Lynn's going to need a little time to work in.
So very highly thought of, and you love it when you draft a high school guy, and they don't seem overwhelmed of their first taste of professional ball, and that's what the Twins saw last year from Royce Lewis. 2-2 the count to Lynn. And a ball lined softly to Lewis, 2 away. So 2 down.
Well, you can keep the sons and brothers of former big league players going with the next hitter.
Right. Ivan DeJesus Jr.
He's like not.
Jesus took over at second base for Brock Holt.
I don't think he's seeing. We've been on stage and looked out. Oh yeah, he is a hard one, really. That like
Chopper to short. Actually, the ball kicking to third, and an on-target throw from Reginado, and a good full inning for the relief pitcher Ryan Mason. And we head to the ninth with the Red Sox up 4-2.
Here's how.
Yet another Boston pitcher, right-hander Adam Lau, coming in to pick up a save in this spring training game, perhaps.
Maybe. Look at his numbers at Salem. So far down here in spring training, he's thrown 4 1/3 innings, giving up 3 hits.
And Reginado will lead things off. Then Eddie Rosario will get a 4th at bat. Again, the Twins are trying to give him as many at bats as possible to make up for lost time because of a tender elbow. So it'll be Reginado, then Rosario, as the Twins find themselves down a couple of runs here in the 9th inning. And a fastball right down the middle. Strike 1. Not only does Reginado get a chance to play in a big league spring training game, but they give him a decent number. 35. Ball lifted to right. Castillo comes in a couple of steps to put it away. One down. And that'll bring up Rosario. Be Rosario and then Baddoo.
They got to get him into the big leagues just so that you can say his name.
Akil Baddoo.
Sounds like a big leaguer.
And strike one to Rosario. The hope is, as Rosario continues to get at bats, that he'll be able to make up for the lost time. Twins counting very heavily on him. Look at those numbers and what he did last year. Monster second half. Ground ball to the right side. Nice pick off by Travis to the pitcher covering. 2 down.
Nice play by Travis over there. He's worked hard at his defense. That's always kind of been the knock on him. They don't know where to put him. A sliding play right there. Reverse pivot. Get the ball back. Lead your pitcher. Get him to first base with it. Nice play.
And now Baddoo will have it at bat. Compensatory pick for the Twins after the second round out of Georgia. Passed on a scholarship to Kentucky to sign with the Twins. Foul back. Good year rookie league ball, hitting .323 with a little pop. And now down and in, 1-1. If Baddoo can extend the game, Paul is in the on-deck circle for the Twins. He would represent the tying run.
He would like to get an at-bat.
Yes, he would.
Came all the way over here.
Chop to the right side. Travis to the pitcher, beating Baddoo to the bag, and the Red Sox now have won 4 of the 5 completed games between these two teams. Winning tonight 4-2.
I guess the Tin Cup is going to go to the Red Sox this year.
And so the Twins will lose both games today while the Red Sox improve their spring training mark for whatever it's worth. 2-12, 8-1. NESN viewers, after the break, will join coverage of the hockey tournament already in progress. Fox Sports North viewers, stay tuned for the Wild and Vegas Knights coming up at 9 o'clock. And my thanks to Garen Austin, Steve Lyons. Thank you for inviting me, coming over and kind of messing up your beautiful booth in here and all that, and enjoyed the broadcast. And again, I'll be working a week from Sunday with Jerry Remy. Looking forward to that as well. The Red Sox beating the Twins 4-2.